Hello friends and welcome back. I hope you're having a great day. A few days ago we got snow for the very first time and I absolutely look forward to it every single year, but I was surprised this year. It's been a few years since we've had snow this early. I was absolutely delighted and so was Quinn. She absolutely loves the snow, so I thought it would be a good day to cozy up inside and work on some crafts that I wanted to get done for Christmas. So today I'm going to be sharing with you what I've been working on. I am so pleased with how everything turned out and I hope you're going to like them as well. Today's very first project are paper angels, which I plan to hang on my Christmas tree this year. These bring back memories because my mom always had angels like this hanging on her tree when I was a little kid. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut a piece of paper. I'm using a thick wrapping paper and I cut a piece 6 by 12 inches and then I started accordion folding down the length of the paper. When I was done, it looked a little like this, and then I went ahead and repeated the process so I had two pieces the same size. I then took one piece and folded the top edge down to form a wing, and then I used it as a template to make sure that I could fold the opposite piece in the same way so that they would match at the top and the bottom. Next, I used a little bit of hot glue to add to the wing to glue the wing to the body of the angel. Then I repeated the process with the other piece. Next, I made a loop with some twine, threaded it through the wood bead, and glued it to one side of the angel. The final step is to glue the two pieces of the angel together, and that is it. Super quick and easy. I also made some angels with a patterned wrapping paper and they turned out super cute as well. I'm so excited to hang these on my Christmas tree this year. Today's second project is a great way to transform delightful vintage graphics into something you can decorate with. I have dug through my stash and come up with a few different options you could use. I have a couple paper napkins. I have a few vintage greeting cards. I'm going to use the outside graphic as well as the inside. I also have a Christmas Carol book, which is basically falling apart, but I want to use some of the graphics in it. You could also use children's storybooks, and don't forget about printables as well. The first thing you're going to want to do is trim your graphic to size. I actually like to leave about 1/4 of an inch around the outside of my design. Here's one that I cut out from the songbook, and I just used the scissors to cut this out, making sure all the edges were nicely rounded, and I had a good, 1/4 of an inch of the white showing along the outside of the design. Next, you're going to get some wood pieces and you're going to cut them slightly larger than the graphic that you're planning to attach to it. I used 1x4s and 1x6s. Then you can stain or paint it to coordinate with the graphic that you're going to be using. Once that's dry, go ahead and dig out your Mod Podge and adhere your design to the board. Once it has had time to completely dry, go ahead and add a top coat of the Mod Podge to seal and protect your graphic. Now the napkins are going to be much more delicate than the paper, so I have a few tips to share with you. So the first thing we're going to do is separate the layers of the napkin. There should be 3 layers. Sometimes this can be kind of tricky, so I use just a little bit of Mod Podge on my fingers until it gets a little bit of tackiness to it, and then I can easily peel that layer off that has the graphic on it. Next, we're going to want to remove the graphic from the rest of the napkin, and to do that I use a paintbrush dipped into water, and then I trace a line along the outside of my design. And I need to work sort of fast here because I don't want the water to bleed into the design. Then I gently remove the sections of the napkin that I don't want, and it leaves behind a nice feathered edge on the design that I'm keeping. Once I have my design separated from the napkin, I'll go back and sort of clean up the edges just a little bit. Then I'll just attach my design to my base with the Mod Podge. However, I need to be very careful because it will easily tear. So a great way to make sure that your design doesn't have any bubbles in it is to lay down some saran wrap over the top of it. Then with the rest of the napkin that you're discarding, gently rub over the surface of the design and then peel off the saran wrap, and it is perfectly adhered. I like then to add just a little bit of Mod Podge along the edges just to make sure that everything's glued down nicely. Then I let it sit and dry and then add a top coat as normal. The final thing that I did for this project is to ink the edges of my design. I think this adds a nice finishing touch to the project. So I simply took an ink pad and lightly pressed it along the edge all the way around the design, and I think it's the perfect finishing touch. I am so pleased with how these turned out. I will definitely be making more. These are going to be so much fun to decorate with. I can add them into different displays, add them to a tiered tray. I could turn them into an ornament if I wanted to. I just think they're so cool. Our next project are these paper medallions or stars. I'm not really sure what they're called, but they are super easy and super fun to make. So I cut a piece of wrapping paper about 6 inches wide by about 30 inches, which was the width of the wrapping paper, and then I just started accordion folding it all the way from one end to the other. Then I folded the whole thing in half. Then taking my scissors, I rounded the edges on one end. Then I folded it in half to use as a template to trim the opposite end as well. The paper was pretty thick and my scissors were sort of dull, so I had to do a little bit of cleanup at the end there. That's basically all you need to do before moving on to the next step, which is to add some string. I'm using embroidery floss because that's what I had on hand, and I'm just going to tie it to the middle. Then I added a little glue to attach the string, followed by a little more glue, and then I folded the two sections together. Should be looking like this, and then the final step is to add some more glue to the open edge to complete the circle. And that is it. Super quick and easy and so much fun. You could use these as an ornament. You could put them on packages. You could even get a little crazy, add some glitter to the edges. Whatever you want to do, but they are so much fun to make. Today's next project is this adorable Christmas-themed shadow box. I picked up these shadow box at Michael's. I think they're like $1 or $2. I thought they were really cute. And then I found some little deer. These are from Target. They come in a 2-pack. They have them in pink and white. And then I picked up some mini trees. These are also from Target, and they come in a package like this. The first thing I did was paint the box in a color that would match what I wanted to put inside. To cover the back side of the box, I'm going to use this saying that is from one of the greeting cards I used earlier in my projects. And I just used a little bit of glue on each corner and pop that inside the box. Then I used some hot glue to add both the tree and the little deer. And finally, to add just a touch of sparkle for Christmas, I am using some Tinsel pipe cleaners. I'm using a red and silver, and I'm kind of twisting them together to make kind of a candy cane looking thing. I then added it to the box by gluing it down to the outside edge. And that is it. Super quick and easy and so adorable with a little bit of a vintage flair to it. And finally today I'm going to make this tinsel tree. I found this beaded garland from the thrift store, which is the inspiration for this project. I have a tree form, a tart tin from the thrift store as well, and some mini tinsel garland. The first thing I'm going to do is just start gluing the tinsel onto the form. Then I started adding the garland as well, and for this I added some glue about every third bead as I spiraled it up the tree form. I had extra of the tinsel garland, so I decided to add another layer in between the beads. This kind of filled it in a little more, made it more fluffy looking, which I like. Then I took the tart tin and glued it onto the bottom to use as a tree base. For the top of the tree, I found this Christmas pin at the thrift store and thought it would be perfect. So I added just a little bit of glue, only enough to just hold it in place because I don't want it to be a permanent fixture, and I think it's the perfect finishing touch. And I think it turned out pretty cute. So that, my friends, are all of the crafts that I have been working on lately. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had so much fun working on these projects, and I think they turned out pretty cute. I'd love to know what you think down in the comments. I hope you have a fabulous day, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye now.